what y'all up to, but we can't stand all of that. We're trying to get somewhere, you know. Because see, go back a little while, the Chinese were building institutions, everybody just praying and fasting, having a good time. The Turkish-speaking Muslims in China, they got to go and look what happened, right? They got to find out how many people in the world. First of all, if the United States say they're bad, always suspicious. What the hell is the United States feeling bad about the Muslims when Muslims can't even come here? They got a Muslim ban on Muslims coming to America, and America loved the Muslims in China. Bull crap, right? Something is stupid, right? We can't allow people to take 10% truth and make 100% reality out of it. The other thing is we have to always follow a nice analysis, a correct analysis. And then we take our time. We take our time. See, like far as the Uyghurs are concerned, Uyghurs in Guantanamo, Saudi Arabia supporting them. Chechnya, fighting the Russians, supported by Saudi Arabia. Remember, this global war against Islam is have the Muslims become the bad guys, and those bad guys will fight us, the good guys, here in the United States. Everybody say that we're the bad guys, right? What have we ever did to anybody? Just ask yourself that. What have we did to anybody? What do they say about us? Anything, we drink blood, we do. They have anything you could imagine, they done already said it about us. We're Shias, and they stole the Shias from here and built the Shias a place, I'm not going to say, out in the woods. And there's no revolutionary dialogue coming from out there where they are. When they were here, they were surrounded by the right line for Shiism. Half of the books out there are Shia books. They come here to get Shia books to take out there. And I give them to them for free, right? So we have to be careful about, again, we mentioned the other day about what we thought about China. You know, remember we had that program? Yeah. And we said China has to be careful about being a colonial master in Africa.
Yep.
We said China has to have debt forgiveness.
Right.
Forgive 50% of the debt and give them double the time to pay back whatever they got to pay back. In fact, if you can go back to the time of Chairman Mao, when a loan was a 2% loan, that's what China, and that's the carrying charges. That's not that's not anything. 2% we charge you out. We're going to build this railroad, we're going to charge you. And the Chinamans worked harder on the railroad than the Africans did. The Tanzam Railroad, we call it. From Dar es Salaam to Lusaka, Zambia. The point is that we've been keeping our eye on China all along. China and Japan. China and the Asian revival. You know what I mean? China. We've been keeping our eye on China. Socialism with Chinese characteristics. China is the only country, they brought 800 million people out of poverty, and they're going back to get the other 500 million people right now. That's what they're doing. For the last couple of years, they have a program to bring those people who stayed in the countryside, the farmers and all of that, right, to raise their level too. They've already got a big middle class, biggest middle class in the world. Now they're going back on their own. It ain't nobody got no program okay, let's go back and get the poor. And poor, don't nobody even want to talk to the poor. They don't want them around. They're not needed, right? We don't need you niggas. You just poor. Tell the truth. They treat poor people like it's a crime to be poor. And I was with them. We used to, man, them poor niggas. You know, when you get big for a little while, and we would talk that. And then I said, wait a minute, them people also. But for a while, you lose your consciousness, and you be thinking, yeah, man. And you make fun of the niggas poor. You know, take that nigga down to the poor house. It used to be a little sister's house of the poor. See, right now, social services is called one thing, but they used to have a house in each neighborhood that was the poorhouse. And that's what it was. Then now they call it the social services, something at the center. But in those days, they called it, this is the poorhouse. If you run out of money, you can go down and you can live in the poorhouse, right? And they called it what it was. They called garbage people sanitation engineers and all that. They're garbage people, right? But modern times, you can't call them about it. You're a garbage man. No, I'm a sanitation engineer. Look at my party, right? So people don't call things what they, anyway, back to China. Don't worry. We'll look into it even more depth. What we have heard from the Chinese themselves is that most of the stuff is invented, and they use statistics like China used to have a one-child policy for all the Chinese, but for the minorities, they had 4 million people, now they got 11 million people. In other words, they could have, the Uyghurs have 3, 4, 5 children. The Chinese have 1. You see what I mean? Because that's their policy. But for minorities, they don't put no, so you guys can get more people. If any of that is true, they have to send somebody there. And the people come back. All the people that we are conscious of that come back from that part, they said that it's fine. They got a couple of Salafis. Remember, Salafis. If we had a jail, we'd put them in jail too. We would not put them in jail. Because everybody got a right to believe. A man moved across the street from me and they got an American flag. So the kids would say, that guy got a Tesla and he's got the American flag. I said, hell, he can buy what he wants and he can put the flag right across from mine. He might pull it down yesterday, but a big flag. I said, hell, that's his house. He can put what the hell he want out there. You can go all around the neighborhood, you won't find no American flag. I haven't seen none.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's hardly none. Now the white neighborhood is different. Okay, but I ain't seen none. If those guys is kind of white, if he want to have a flag, he can wear it, put it out. Back to the Uyghurs in China. We don't make decisions based on who our team is. You know, like we investigate. That's why when the question of China came up, I said, okay, I'll give you some. So the other day, I gave a long list of things, of things that I thought China should do to make sure that they don't become a colonial power in Africa. They have to control themselves, right? Because Chinese and Africans are different, and if they don't control themselves, they won't know. The Chinese are like ants. They work like ants. That's what they do. They've always done that. That's part of their nature. They're like Germans. Germans love, like some people, they talk about democracy. Some people don't want no whole lot of freedom. They want a strong leader, and that's what they do. We don't, what the hell you guys, don't nobody want. You want that. We don't want that. You want 50 choices. We want 4 or 5 choices finished. I don't want to be confused about it, right? I don't want the 4 or 5 choices. You can have your 500 choices and sit there forever going crazy trying to figure out what to do, right? So the point is, and I'll close with this, we analyze friends and foe according to the reality. That's why if somebody asks a question, we said, it would take a little while. Now, even on the question of the Uyghurs, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do even more research.
Yeah, because this was a question, or whether it was a comment, it was a by someone else on your follow-up on China to the other person, you know.
Okay,
right. That's what it was. Yeah.
Well, no, but the question they asked about China, first we answered it
right.
reasonable,
yeah.
then we came back with a detailed discussion. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, if people want to run you down, then well, what about the Uyghurs? Well, we're Muslims. What about the Muslims then, all over the world? Iran got a thing with China. Everybody else, why do the Muslims all have stuff with China if the Uyghurs are getting oppressed? Right? Okay. So anyway, we'll do a little semi-detailed research on China and Uyghur Muslims.
And this was another question from Tuesday's lecture. A brother asked, brother, what is a jinn? Are they human or are they spiritual beings?
The jinn. There's a surah jinn, right? Jinn, same root as Jannah or garden, because a garden is inside and it's hidden. Jinn could mean foreigner. Jinn could also mean something that you don't see with the eye. For instance, historically, when you looked in a microscope, the microscope. Okay, the stuff that you could now see, when you couldn't see it, that would be a jinn because it has real life, right? They're biological, but you can't see them. So a jinn has something to do with hidden. Now also, but it could also mean foreigner. Example, in Surah Jinn, there's a people that heard a beautiful recital of the Quran and they liked it. Those people were, that's in Surah Jinn, that's Surah Jinn. Okay, but generally, jinn means something that's imperceptible with by the eye. You don't see it. But also, it means foreigner too. They're from among the jinn. Because they're foreigner, they're from way over there. And, so that's the jinn. They could be physical. Surah Jinn, they heard a beautiful recital. Look at Surah 72, 72, 73. That's Surah Jinn. They heard a beautiful recital and they liked it. That's Surah Jinn. Distant, hidden, but also like, functional. You could, I don't want to get spooky, but we're just gonna. Have any of y'all ever heard of Hanks before?
Yeah, well, from you. Yeah.
You never heard of Hanks? See, y'all modern. Can you look up Hanks? H-A-I-N-T-S.
Like ghost life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
All the old people have seen Hanks. And I've seen a Hank too.
Okay.
When I was 4 years old. I'd swear by it. Now all the people older than me. I'm the last one born in the South. So nobody sees Haints out here. They don't see Haints. They never even. But in the South, do you see anything about Haints?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm realizing, okay, that's why it took me a while to find it, because I was spelling it wrong. It's like Saints, just with an H. Haints.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Let me see here. Yeah, here we go. It's ghosts and evil spirits from the South.
The evil spirits for white people.
Oh, okay. That was just the title of it. Southern legends of Haints, ghosts, witches, boogermen, boo hags, and boo daddies.
Yeah.
Okay, so a haint is an old Southern word for a specific type of ghost or evil spirit from the Carolina coast, but found in tales from various regions of the South. Belief in haints probably originated from the Gullah-Geechee people, descendants of African slaves in the Carolina Low Country and Barrier Islands. In South Carolina, haints are malicious ghosts, often seeking to steal or harm naughty children, maybe used as a story to make unruly children behave.
No, Haints are real.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just tell you, this is a step funny. I think when my mother died, all the family came together. And I was the youngest one there. Sister Bahia was sitting next to me and everybody. They got Haints is a natural part of your conversation for old people. So everybody was talking about Haints. My brother, my oldest brother, he said, yeah, I first saw my first Haint back in 19 something or other, and he had white shoes on. Everybody remembered the Haints. You know, for white people, they were evil spirits. Dark, if you were to read books like old books, caste and class system of a southern town. Caste and class system of a southern town. That's an old book. White people saw Haints as these dark figures that always come to punish them, because that's what they did to us. Now, for black people, I asked my father, I said, Daddy, when did you see your first Haint? He said, I was in 1918. I was 18 years old. He said, I had a 38 special. And I said, well, how do you know it was a Haint? He said, you know, on the ledge, he was standing on the ledge of a bank, you know, like the river. And that ledge wouldn't hold a human being, you know. So I knew it was a Haint. And he said, I told him, you just watch yourself, I'll blow you away with this. So it's like black people they're not afraid of Haints. They might try to use it to scare little kids. But Haints were just abnormal. They could do stuff that, this is a question of Jen, they could do stuff in other countries. All old people have seen Jen. All of them. Finished.
Yeah, I've heard the stories.
All of them, they've seen Jen. They don't care what you tell them or what they've seen them. They exist. The young people don't know nothing about. I ain't never heard of Jen. I know they exist, but I ain't.
So the physical and non-physical, they're somewhere in between.
They're both. The word, first I'm using the word. The word jinn comes from jannah, you know, the Arabic root word. And that means hidden. Like a garden was hidden. Jannah, paradise. Right? It's hidden. Right? So jinn comes from the same root word. And so garden is an internal place in the house, you know, like now the garden is outside for us, outside, right? But in the East and in Mexico, the garden is inside. You ever see them? The garden is inside. You come into the house and then the house is around and in the middle is a garden, okay? And so anyway, the jinn can be physical, but it's spiritual also. It's not just one dimension. They're not one dimension. So, no, jinn, multi-dimensional. Sometimes it means foreigner. Okay. And then they heard a beautiful recital. I don't, that's another translation. Excuse me, 1 second. I just. Jinn, unseen beings. Say it has been revealed to me that some of the unseen beings gave ear to this divine writ, to the Quran, and thereupon said unto their fellow beings, verily we have heard a wondrous discourse guiding toward consciousness of what is right, and so we have come to believe in it. So the jinn, they believe in it. They believe it. Yeah. And we shall never ascribe divinity to anyone besides our sustainer. So this is from Surah Jinn. Let me just read the footnote that might help. I had heard and accepted it. This being the meaning of the above context of the verbal istama as regards to various meanings attributable to the plural noun jinn, rendered by me here as unseen beings. You can see the appendix they got but we won't mess with it now. As pointed out there, the jinns are referred to in the Quran in many connotations. In a few cases, e.g., in the present instance and in this expression may be possibly signified here to unseen beings, namely strangers, like foreigners, who had never before been seen by the people among whom, and it has many connotations, which we would be invisible forces, unseen beings, and ints and jinns from among